Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Clock, a channel dedicated to helping late bloomers and those feeling behind redefine success and take intentional steps toward the life they want. It's day 6 of our Becoming a Better You challenge. If you're feeling like a tortoise, just steadily making progress, slow and steady, that means you're right on track. That's the spirit of this whole thing, taking it at your own pace. And speaking of soaring ahead, just like January's symbolic animal, the eagle, we're going to gain some altitude today. Today's focus, nature walks. You know, it's really interesting how nature walks embodies the eagle's key traits, vision, clarity, and possibilities. But how does the eagle tie into just, you know, going for a walk? Well, picture this. The eagle soars high above everything else, right? Getting a wide perspective. And when you step into nature, you're stepping away from your daily routine, the daily grind. You get a chance to see the bigger picture of your own life. So it's like literally and figuratively getting above it all. It's about perspective. But what about clarity? Does nature have like a secret purging power or something? Research shows that natural environments actually help quiet the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain that's constantly analyzing and overthinking. So this break lets you focus more effortlessly and boosts creative thinking. It's like nature hits the refresh button. I always feel so much more relaxed and focused after being outside. Now, what about possibilities? What is the connection to the eagle for January? So imagine the eagle soaring effortlessly, just riding the wind currents. And in a similar way, being in nature reminds us that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. But let's talk practicality for a sec. Some people might be thinking, great, another thing to add to my to-do list. This is where the whole tortoise and hare idea I mentioned in my first video comes in. This challenge is about your pace, your journey. Forget rigid schedules. Comparison is the thief of joy. Whether you have 10 minutes or 2 minutes, whether you want to walk briskly or just sit and observe, it all counts. So it's all about finding what feels right for you. No pressure, no judgment. Maybe you've been doing just 2 minutes a day for the past month. That's fantastic. Next month, maybe you try bumping it up to 5 minutes. Small steps. Slow and steady wins the race, remember. I hope this is reassuring for you. I think a lot of people get discouraged if they can't fit in a full hour-long hike every day. But even a few minutes consistently can have a huge impact on your well-being. And you don't even have to be in some pristine forest. Your backyard, even just noticing a tree from your window. Nature is all around us. It's really about making that conscious effort to connect with nature however and wherever you can. So we've talked about the big picture, but let's get into some specifics. What are some tangible ways that nature walks actually benefit us beyond just, feeling peaceful? Well, for starters, there are a bunch of physical benefits. We're talking improved heart health, lower blood pressure, stronger immune system, and this is all from just walking. So it's like sneaking in an exercise without even realizing it. Adding walking in nature, studies from the University of Essex actually found just 5 minutes of exercise in nature can significantly improve your mood. Just 5 minutes. And the benefits go beyond that. Being outdoors means sunlight, which helps your body produce vitamin D, which is essential for bone health and immune function. So simple, but so important. It's incredible how something so simple can have such a ripple effect on our physical health. But I think for a lot of people, what really draws them to nature is the mental and emotional relief it provides. And there's actually a growing body of research to back that up. For example, there was this study published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and it found that people who walked for 90 minutes in a natural area had decreased activity in the subgenual prefrontal cortex. I briefly talked about this earlier, but basically it's the part of the brain that's linked to rumination and negative thoughts, the part that keeps us stuck in those negative thought loops. So it's not just a feeling, there's actually a measurable change happening in our brains when we're out in nature. I know I always feel much calmer and less anxious after a walk in the park. And there's a reason for that. Nature helps regulate our cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. Lower cortisol equals less anxiety, better sleep, and just an overall greater sense of well-being. And then there are all those feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. Nature boosts those too. Nature walks are like a multivitamin for our minds and bodies. But I have to admit, sometimes I feel like I'm just going through the motions when I'm walking, not really present, like I'm not really engaging with my surroundings. It's easy to fall into autopilot. Here are some tips on how to really get the most out of those minutes. This is where the eagle's sharp vision comes in handy. Instead of just walking on autopilot, try this. Alternate between focusing on the big picture, the sky, the trees, the overall landscape, and then zooming in on tiny details. Notice a unique leaf, the texture of the bark on a tree, the way the sunlight filters through the branches. So it's all about shifting our focus back and forth. This back and forth observation actually helps train your brain to see things from different perspectives. It's like we're sharpening our focus and attention just like the eagle. And don't forget to engage all your senses. Listen to the sounds of birds, feel the breeze on your skin, smell the earthiness of the forest floor. The more you immerse yourself, the richer the experience and the greater the benefits. It's like a full sensory meditation in nature. But I know it's easy to get caught up in our own heads, even when surrounded by all this beauty. It happens to the best of us. So what's a good way to shift out of that mental clutter and into a more appreciative state? Gratitude. Gratitude. Take a moment to really appreciate the fresh air, the sunlight, the simple fact that you're able to move your body. Those are things we often take for granted, but studies show that feeling gratitude can actually rewire your brain for happiness. And what better place to cultivate gratitude than in the middle of nature's wonders? So we're seeing the bigger picture, sharpening our focus, and feeling grateful. The most impressive benefit of nature walks is the impact nature has on our cognitive function. We often associate nature with relaxation and stress reduction, which are both super important. But the research on how even brief nature walks can boost attention, memory, and creativity is incredible. It's like unlocking mental potential we didn't even know we had. We often think we need to be cooped up inside to do our best thinking, but it sounds like the opposite is true. And one of the reasons for this is something called attention restoration theory. So our modern world is constantly bombarding us with information, demanding our directed attention. Our brains are always on, right? And that leads to mental fatigue. Nature, on the other hand, provides what's known as soft fascination. It engages our minds effortlessly, allowing our directed attention to rest and recover. And you know what happens when our minds get that break. Creativity explodes. One study from the University of Utah and the University of Kansas even found that creative problem-solving abilities improved by a whopping 50% after participants spent time walking in nature, disconnected from technology. 50%. So it's not just about relaxation. Nature can actually make us more productive and innovative. It's like nature provides the mental space for those moments to pop up. And the best part is these benefits are accessible to everyone, no matter your age or fitness level. That's what I love about this activity. It's about finding what feels right for you. There's no pressure to go on some epic hike or run a marathon. Even a few minutes of walking in nature can make a difference. And that's a really important point to emphasize. I don't want anyone feeling intimidated or discouraged. This challenge is about embracing your own pace and discovering what works best for you. It's important for me to remind you that if you've only managed a 2-minute walk outside each day for the past month, that's perfectly fine. You're still getting those benefits, and you can always gradually increase your time as you feel comfortable. It's your journey, and you get to decide what feels right. I mentioned before that maybe you start with 5 minutes next month, maybe you stick with 2 minutes for a while. There's no right or wrong answer, no judgment here. The important thing is to make that connection with nature, even if it's just for a few moments. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. You can always build up to longer walks as you feel stronger and more confident. But what about those who don't have access to a huge forest or a scenic mountain trail? Remember, you could take a walk around your neighborhood, a stroll through a local park, or simply sitting in your backyard and observing nature can have profound benefits. Nature is all around us, even in urban environments. We just have to open our eyes and appreciate it. And sometimes the simplest experiences are the most powerful. Less is more. It's not about the distance you cover or the intensity of your workout. It's about making that connection with the natural world and letting it nourish your mind, body, and spirit. So, no matter where you are in your journey, know that even small steps can lead to big transformations. One of my favorite tips is that observation exercise I talked about earlier, alternating between the big picture and the small details. As you walk, take in the big picture, like the wide open sky, the shape of the trees, the whole landscape, and then shift your focus to the tiniest details, like examine a single leaf. Notice the patterns on a butterfly's wings, feel the texture of a rock. I've tried that before, and it's amazing how much I miss when I'm just rushing through a walk. Like a whole new world opens up when you slow down. And that's the point, engaging those observation skills, just like an eagle scanning for its next move. This exercise not only helps us appreciate the beauty around us, but also trains our brains to be more attentive and present in everyday life. It's like a workout for our attention span. And speaking of workouts, there's something special about combining movement with being in nature. It just feels different. Researchers actually call it green exercise, and studies have shown that it can actually lead to even greater reductions in stress, anxiety, and even depression compared to indoor workouts. So it's not just about the physical exertion, it's the environment itself that plays a role. But why is that? Is it just the scenery, or is there something more going on? Some researchers think our brains are hardwired to respond positively to natural environments. Like it's in our DNA. It's called biophilia, this innate human tendency to connect with nature. And when we're surrounded by nature, our bodies actually go through physiological changes. Our heart rate and blood pressure go down, our muscles relax, and our brains release all those feel-good chemicals I mentioned earlier. I talked about the mental and emotional benefits, but what about the cognitive side of things? It definitely enhances our cognitive function in some key ways. I already talked about the boost in creativity, but nature also has a pretty remarkable impact on our memory and attention span. I always thought I did my best thinking sitting at my desk. A lot of people think that office focus, but a study by the University of Michigan actually found that after just an hour of interacting with nature, memory, performance, and attention spans improved by 20%. And what's even more remarkable is that these benefits were seen across different ages and cognitive abilities. So it's not just for like young people or people who are already really sharp, it's for everyone. What's the science behind this? Why does being in nature have this effect on our brains? Well, there are a few theories out there. One is that the visual complexity of natural environments gives our brains a gentle workout. Remember soft fascination? We're constantly taking in new information, scanning our surroundings, and that helps strengthen neural connections and improve cognitive flexibility and, of course, reduce in stress. When we're stressed, it's hard to think clearly. When we're stressed, our brains are flooded with cortisol, which can actually impair cognitive function. Nature helps lower those cortisol levels, creating a better environment for learning and memory. So, the nature walks are a brain boosting, stress busting superpower. Now, there are ways to bring those nature benefits into our daily lives, even when we're stuck in the city or at work. Even small doses of nature can make a big difference. Things like bringing plants into your home or office, listening to nature sounds, Even just looking at pictures of nature, all of these can have a positive effect on your mood, focus, and well-being. I've definitely noticed a difference in my home. Since I got more plants, it just feels calmer and more inviting. Plants really can transform space. And I love the idea of listening to nature sounds while I work. It's like bringing the outdoors in. But sometimes even those small things can feel like a luxury. What about people who are facing some real challenges like chronic stress, anxiety, or even depression? Can nature really make a difference in those situations? Well, while nature isn't a cure-all, research suggests it can play a big part in managing mental health conditions. There is a study in the University of Exeter that found that people who spent at least 2 hours a week in nature reported better health and well-being compared to those who didn't, and it doesn't have to be all at once. Even short bursts of nature throughout the week can have a real impact. So it's not about escaping into nature for a grand adventure. It's about weaving those moments of connection into our everyday lives. That's it. And remember, it's about finding what works for you. Some people love solo walks, others thrive in group settings. There's no right or wrong way to connect with nature. No one size fits all approach. It's all about finding what nourishes your soul and brings you joy. You know, we've been talking a lot about the individual benefits, but what about the social aspect? Can nature walks help us connect with others and build a sense of community? Absolutely. Walking in nature with friends or family can really strengthen those bonds and create shared memories. And for people who might be feeling isolated or lonely, group nature walks can be a wonderful way to connect with others who share similar interests. Finding your tribe. There's just something about being in nature that seems to break down barriers and encourage conversation. I've had some of my best conversations with friends while out walking. It's like nature provides this common ground. But I'm also thinking about the deeper lessons nature can teach us. There's this inherent wisdom in the natural world if we're open to it. Nature is a master teacher. So, what kinds of lessons can we learn from nature walks? Well, think about a tree that's been battered by storms but still stands tall. That's resilience right there. We can learn from nature's ability to adapt and overcome challenges. It's like that bend but don't break philosophy. Nature also teaches us patience. Think about a seed slowly germinating and growing into a plant. It's a reminder that growth takes time and we don't always have to rush. Trust the process. We can trust the natural unfolding of things. It's such a good reminder, especially in our fast-paced, instant gratification world. What else? Interconnectedness, the whole web of life in a forest with all the plants, animals, microorganisms working together in harmony. It's a beautiful system, and it shows us that we're not isolated individuals. We're all part of something much bigger. And another lesson, surrender. Think about the way a river flows downstream, just adapting to all the curves and obstacles in its path effortlessly. It's a reminder that sometimes the best approach is to let go of control, trust the flow of life, and allow things to unfold. Sometimes that's all you should do. It's about recognizing that we don't always have to force things or swim upstream. We can learn to trust the process. These are such powerful metaphors that we can apply to our own lives. Nature really is a wise teacher, and nature walks give us that opportunity to tune in and learn. Now I want to touch on one specific emotion that nature often evokes, one that's actually been linked to some amazing benefits. It's such a powerful feeling, that sense of wonder and amazement, like you're speechless and deeply connected to something so much bigger than yourself. But guess what? It actually has measurable benefits. Research has shown that experiencing awe can boost our immune system, reduce inflammation, and even make us more altruistic and compassionate. So, awe isn't just a fleeting feeling, it has a real impact on our physical and mental health, even our social behavior, and nature is the perfect setting to cultivate awe. Think about gazing up at a towering redwood, watching a vibrant sunset, marveling at the details of a tiny wildflower, just being present in those moments. Nature is full of moments that can inspire awe and wonder. It's about shifting our perspective, opening our hearts, and being fully present. We've covered so much: the physical benefits, mental perks, that cognitive boost, social connection, even those deep lessons nature can teach us. It's amazing how much is packed into just a walk outside. And what's so inspiring is that these benefits are for everyone, no matter your age, fitness level, or even where you live. You don't need a huge forest to experience nature's magic. Even a few minutes looking at a tree in your neighborhood or taking care of a little potted plant, it can bring you peace and connection. It's about making that effort to incorporate nature however you can, wherever you can. And I want to encourage you to think beyond the, traditional nature walk. Maybe it's listening to birds while you drink your coffee, or having lunch in a park, stargazing from your balcony at night. So many options, so many ways to connect. The key is to find what works for you. Think about your own experiences with nature. Those can be some of your most vivid memories. Hiking in the mountains with your family, watching a meteor shower with friends, even just sitting on your porch listening to the rain. It's like nature has this way of creating these really lasting impressions, shaping who we are. Those memories and experiences, they speak to something deeper about this challenge. It's not just about checking things off a list, it's about growing and connecting with ourselves and the world. So if you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or just need a little rejuvenation, step outside, connect with nature. Take a deep breath. Let yourself be transformed. You might surprise yourself with what you find. For today's daily prompt, what did you notice during your walk? How did it feel to connect with freedom? Remember to join me tomorrow for day 7 of the challenge. Until then, keep shining.